Okay, now that we've talked about paper tuning, we've talked about bare shaft tuning, I've told you that I don't really use bare shaft tuning as a method. Don't really like it because the fletched arrow actually will react dynamically slightly different than the bare shaft arrow. That being said, I do use a bare shaft tuning method from time to time. Now, once I have my paper tune, where I'm shooting right down the middle, I will then take a bare shaft a lot of times. Now make sure you shoot that bare shaft in through paper. You want that bare shaft in paper shooting a good bullet hole, And when you're done with that, take a silver Sharpie like this and just mark the up position of that shaft so you know where to index it back every time. Because it may, that bare shaft may shoot, an elongated tear like this in one rotation. It may shoot an elongated tear this way, the other way, but at some point in that rotation, it's going to shoot a solid hole, and that's where you want to be testing and using that bare shaft, okay? So we have our bullet hole tuned through paper, right? Now I'm going to take a bare shaft, and I'm going to go to 20 yards, okay? We're going to go to 20 yards, or any specific distance. I just recommend 20. I think that's a good number. And what I'll do is I'll shoot the bare shaft, and I'll shoot it 2 or 3 times. And if I discover that, hey, my bare shaft, hits an inch above my fletch shaft, that's valuable information, okay? If I go to a tournament or I go into the field hunting and something were to happen to my bow, I need to replace a limb or a string or adjust my rest or something. I need to know how to get my bullet hole tune back, but I don't have access to paper, okay? And all we have to understand is the correlation of the bare shaft to the fletch shaft. So if I come back in and my first tear is a high tear, which if I don't have paper, it's going to look like my fletch shaft's going to be here and my bare shaft's going to be down here, right? So this is actually what we'd see through paper, but this is what it's going to look like. So I know that my bare shaft is steering downwards. That's a high tear. Go back to our bare shaft tuning guide, our paper tuning guide, and I can make the adjustments until it goes right back here the way it was when I checked it, when I knew I had a perfect tune and I've got my tune back. That's really when I use a bare shaft. You can use, there are sometimes I'll add tape to the back of the bare shaft to actually mimic the weight of the fletching, and you can just test it. Sometimes your bare shaft and your bullet hole tune are going to be one and the same. But a lot of times it won't, and especially if you're using heavier vanes. So you can use this as a quick method to retune your bow in the field if something were to happen, and just get really fluent with paper tuning and bare shaft tuning and these methodologies, and it'll be very easy for you to understand, and you won't be afraid to work on your bow.